Now, a eulogy was given at an IDF soldier's funeral by fellow IDF members. The eulogy contained celebrations of the dead soldiers' disgusting actions. Participants at the funeral of Reservist Sergeant First Class Chauvel Ben Nathan, a 22-year-old from the West Bank settlement of Rehelm, recounted in their eulogies that he attacked Palestinians and burnt the homes of Gazan residents without authorization. One speaker described Ben Nathan's desire for revenge against Palestinian women and children and called for blood vengeance. You entered Gaza to take revenge as much as possible. Women, children, he said of Ben Nathan, who was killed in a clash with Hezbollah in a village in southern Lebanon. May the people of Israel be worthy of pursuing your vengeance. Blood vengeance, not revenge by burning homes, trees, and vehicles, he added. Another eulogist said, "You were the happiest, most optimistic, and most mischievous person in the unit. We first met in Gaza when you burned a house without permission just for the atmosphere." Another speaker at the funeral recounted that last October, Ben Nathan shot dead Bilal Salah, a 40-year-old Palestinian who was harvesting olives with his children near the West Bank village of Sawiyah, close to Nablus. "I was so impressed by you," he testifies. Now, this is just completely horrific, to praise and laugh about war crimes. Now, we actually have more info about the Palestinian who was harvesting olives. According to the testimonies from the incident, several Palestinians were harvesting olives when settlers attacked them. Ben Nathan opened fire and Salah was hit in the chest. Sami, the uncle of the murdered Bilal, told Haaretz that at the time of the shooting, he was in his field around 500 meters from the plot where his nephew was harvesting. At around 10 a.m., I saw 4 settlers dressed in white, men in their 20s, coming out of the settlement. He said he tried to warn the harvesters in other fields about the settlers. Bilal was with his family and children. The settlers approached them and I wanted to protect my son and get away, and then I heard 2 gunshots. According to Sami, Bilal, his wife, and their 2 children, aged 5 and 7, were around 600 meters away from the settlement's fence. It was completely quiet, he added. There was nothing before, no friction. We tried to be cautious, so we made an effort to harvest on Shabbat when there are fewer settlers, but apparently we didn't pick the right day. He clarified that they took extra precautions because they knew that at the beginning of the war, the atmosphere in the area was particularly tense. The horrific war crimes the IDF commits aren't just direct orders, they are also a result of the disgusting culture within the IDF. Kevin, there's been claims over the course of the last year that the IDF are they're not disciplined. That's why sometimes you'll see them do depraved stuff. That has been the excuse to absolve responsibility from the higher-ups. They are absolutely ordered to commit crimes. But it's also true that they are not disciplined, which is why you see videos of the IDF going through underwear drawers of Palestinian women they just killed and are now celebrating disgusting acts at a soldier's funeral. I want to get your response to the eulogy and your thoughts on the culture within the IDF.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of broader issue, I think, is that this reflects a sickness at the heart of Israeli society, which is that ultra-Zionism has now basically become the norm. Kind of ethno-nationalist, ethno-supremacist evil, which is a cancer rotting away the core of Israel, unfortunately. Yes, in terms of the actual them not being punished, it's not just that they're not punished for these crimes; they're often celebrated. One remembers the rapist, one of many rapists, of course, who were found to have raped Palestinian prisoners, or let's call them, I don't know, hostages, perhaps, or even sausages, depending on whether you're Keir Starmer or not. Yeah, it was raping hostages. And not only were a Zionist mob emboldened to go and attack the prison to free this person, but they were then celebrated in Israeli media and given soft soak interviews by news organizations, mainstream news organizations in Israel. So evil people are celebrated and elevated in Israeli society, unfortunately. And like I say, this speaks to the cancerous rot at the core of Israeli society, and it really does show how bad things have gotten. That even the Knesset, the Israeli Parliament, literally had a debate as to the efficacy or the moral rights and wrongs of the degree to which their soldiers should be able to rape detainees. And yet, I'm told that the evil that we saw depicted in the eulogy or described in the eulogy, that I should feel sorry for those dead soldiers. Not only do I not feel sorry for those dead soldiers, frankly, they got what they deserved ultimately. If you're an evil person doing evil things and invading foreign countries and you get killed, I will not lose a wink of sleep for you.
There was an article in the US that came out recently that talked about the trauma IDF soldiers were facing. Particularly one soldier who said he couldn't sleep at night because he used a bulldozer to run over Palestinians. And I want to speak to what you just said there. Why should we feel sorry for these people when they are monsters? It's
Yeah.
not just orders from the top. We know that, but the culture within the IDF and in wider Israeli society, it is a mainstream position to essentially glass Gaza.
Yes.
There was a conference actually a week ago, and the conference was literally called Resettle Gaza. The clue's in the name. And you had people saying it was essentially a real estate convention about what we're going to do with Gaza, what we're going to do with Palestine, and what we're going to do with the Arabs. And one person was there. Remember, she wasn't she was a daughter of a soldier, but she wasn't a soldier herself. She said, we need to kill them all. Kill
Yeah.
all Palestinians. So this is a disgusting culture within
Well, that's not.
Israeli society.
Unfortunately, that person, whilst they don't necessarily reflect every single person in Israel,
No, of course not.
there are far too many people who will happily, openly express such sentiments. You should always be reticent to take vox pops too seriously, but I've seen too many videos of people interviewing random Israelis who are more than happy and open to say such things in public, knowing they will face no backlash for it. Again, there is a cancer at the heart of Israeli society, and that is reflected by the IDF. I think that's one of the reasons that they have the IDF national service as being compulsory, because they want to inculcate people in that culture. Because it's essentially a kind of a way that a cult would control new members. You make sure that every single person has to go through the same initiation ceremony, so that even if they come out the other side not as damaged as many other people, they're damaged enough that they'll still play defense for the system.
Support independent media, support social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.